I'm sure you've heard people say stuff like, humans don't need 8 hours of sleep. 8 hours of sleep isn't even good for you. You need to be taking multiple naps throughout the day. Scientists don't even understand why we need to sleep. I'm running on 4 hours of sleep right now. I'm telling you, we need more than 4. It makes me absolutely furious when I hear unfounded claims about health and well-being stuff, because someone will have seen one headline about one article which mentions one study that might indicate a different way of living. And it disregards the whole methodology of it, and it disregards the decades upon decades of sleep research. And when people say this stuff, it ignores all of the other variabilities in people's lives and the obvious and scientifically proven effect that sleep deprivation impacts your physical and mental health in massive amounts. So I don't care if you want to live your life that way, but it bothers me when people give other people this kind of advice to try and help them, and it's just potentially harmful and irresponsible advice to give. However, maybe that's my bias. I could be wrong. So let's have a look at some sleep myths so we don't look stupid when talking about this in public, and so we know how to take care of ourselves properly. You eat spiders in your sleep. I don't know about you guys, but I actually do this. I don't care if this myth has been debunked. The amount of times I wake up with spiders' legs coming out my mouth. A little bib around me as well. Scientifically, no evidence of this phenomenon exists, and it's unlikely that it would happen because spiders typically scurry away from humans. Yes, why would they climb into our mouths? They don't think it's a cave. I think that's where the myth comes from. Let's find out. The BBC say it's unclear where the spider swallowing story originated from. Oh, interesting. One popular theory traces it back to a 1933 magazine article where the 8 spiders a year line was intended as a joke, illustrating how easily misinformation can spread. I want to see this magazine article. I can't find it. This is so funny because they've made this article to be like, the internet is so gullible, don't trust everything you read online. Everyone saw the headline and believed it. Now apparently it was an article in a magazine that I can't find. So now you have to take my word for it, and these people on Reddit's word for it, that's the reason why we believe this myth. There's a whole video essay on it. I'll link this below. Okay, so according to this video, this article was written to show that people online believe stuff, blah, blah, blah. And that spider fact apparently comes from this book released in 1954, Insect Fact and Folklore. And this guy bought the book, and it doesn't actually say that. Oh my God, this whole video is basically about how they can't find out where it originates from. Let's move on. Let's get back to the sleep. The amount of sleep you need as you age doesn't change, but your sleep patterns can. Obviously, because you're still a human with a human body and brain. Older adults might wake up more frequently at night to use the bathroom, take medications that affect sleep. Short naps can help make up for the sleep during the day for the sleep that's lost at night, which makes sense because I often see these studies where it's like elderly people only need like 6 or 7 hours sleep a night, when obviously that's not true. It's just that they might sleep 6 or 7 hours at a night and then make up for it with like an hour's nap in the daytime. A study published in the Journal of American Geriatric Society, what an insane society to have, found that nearly 60% of adults over the age of 65 reported napping after lunch for about 1 hour. There you go. From the data collected, scientists determined that a 30 to 90 minute nap, which falls within the golden time frame, is ideal for a quick snooze. Participants who napped within this time frame had better word recall and were better at figure drawing, a sign of good It's 4 hours catching up to me, boys. Cognition. That makes sense because a full cycle of sleep, I think, is about 90 minutes. I think if you sleep for 30 minutes, your brain goes into deep sleep, and then that can make you wake up feeling groggy and more tired than before. Whereas I think it's like under 30 minutes, it's good, and then it's like over an hour is better. Something like that. Yeah, that makes sense. You don't need more sleep as you get older because you're still a human being. Who'd have thought old people are human beings? I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that your bedroom should be warm. I know people say it's more comfortable, but I'm pretty sure everywhere I've seen anything about the temperature of a room, people say that it's meant to be cold. It's something to do with the cold temperature matches your body's natural drop in temperature when you go to sleep, which signals the production of melatonin, which helps you fall asleep faster, and it makes your sleep more sleepy. It's better for your sleep, basically. And if you're too hot in the night, you'll wake up sweating and you'll be moving around more in bed because you're uncomfortable, meaning you're not going to get into deep sleep as much, so you'll be more in REM. That's what drives me insane. People thinking that they sleep better after an alcoholic drink. Yes, drinking alcohol can make you fall asleep faster, but your quality of sleep is so much worse that it's just not worth it. I think it's the same for sleeping pills as well. They help you get to sleep, but because your body's processing these chemicals, you don't sleep as good. Yeah, I don't get where this has come from, because obviously this one makes so much sense. People thinking it's good to be able to fall asleep really quickly. That doesn't mean you've had good sleep. That doesn't mean you're well rested. If I eat a meal in 2 minutes, that doesn't mean I'm fed, you know? That means I was so hungry that I had to eat really quick to sustain myself. Sleep scientist and assistant professor Rebecca Robbins at Harvard Medical School says it takes a healthy, well-rested person about 15 to 20 minutes to fall asleep. So if you're getting stressed that you're not falling asleep quick enough, there you go. That's a normal time to fall asleep in. Let's address this 8 hours thing as well. If you can't be spoken to before your morning coffee, you're sleep deprived. The amount of sleep people need falls into a bell curve type distribution, which is the vast majority of people needing between 7 and 9 hours of rest each night to be refreshed. It would be incredibly, incredibly rare for you to be someone that only needs 4 to 6 hours. It's all dependent on chronotypes and your body and your brain and how all of your biology works together. Apparently there's 4 chronotypes, not just night owls and early birds. There's also 2 groups with schedules in between. Both of these groups like to sleep a little later than the larks, the early birds, and go to bed earlier than the owls. But one of these groups feels sluggish both morning and evening, while the other has high energy levels at both times. Maybe some people are just destined to be sleepy. I've also heard people say that you can train yourself to become a morning person or a night owl. That's also not true. While your chronotype is mostly genetic and can't really be adjusted, there are obviously certain things you can do to improve your sleep. Everyone's body responds to light. This is why it's so important to not go on your phone for a while before bed. I mean, I do it. We all do it, right? But regardless of who you are, no matter what you believe, you as a human being biologically, while sitting in the dark, that promotes the production of melatonin, which makes you sleepy. It's a biological process and it works. Yes, without the stimulation in your brain of watching TikToks before bed, you might find it harder to get sleep for a bit, but just stick it out and your body will take care of the rest. Yes, your mind might race with thoughts and ideas. In my mind, that just signals to me that you're not bored enough throughout the day to give your brain the chance to think about these things. If you're constantly on your phone doing stimulating tasks, you're not having any downtime for your brain to process all of these different thoughts and feelings, and that's why it comes out at night. Unless you're dealing with a really stressful thing in your life or some major things coming up the next day. Fair enough. That's not just my opinion. There's a lot of research in being bored and letting your brain have some downtime to sort through this stuff. The only long-term consequence of not getting enough sleep is that you'll be tired. That is so not true. Not to stress you out about getting enough sleep, but it has insane effects on your physical and mental health, including, but not limited to, memory problems, cancer risk, depression, anxiety, heart disease, Alzheimer's, because of all these chemicals that build up in your brain. If you're not getting enough sleep, your brain needs to sleep to flush out these chemicals. Side point, have you guys heard about the Russian sleep experiment? I watched that when I was like 15. I was like, oh my God, what the hell? I thought it was real. Snoring is annoying, but it's no big deal otherwise. Yeah, that drives me insane when people snore. Snoring can be an indication that you are dealing with sleep apnea, a sleep disorder that can cause medical problems over time. It's caused by decreased airflow that can strain the heart and cause cardiovascular problems, and is also linked to weight gain. Obviously, because you're starving your body of oxygen in the night. If you're a snorer, I know it's probably annoying people getting on your case about snoring. Just go and see someone get dealt with, because it's going to be affecting your health as well, and your sleep is probably worse for it. You're not doing it for other people, do it for yourself. Oh, and here's the thing I was talking about earlier about sleeping pills. Sleep experts caution that whatever is happening after you take a sleeping pill is not natural sleep. If you look at the brainwaves of people who have taken pills like Ambien, they're not getting real sleep. Interesting. I wonder what book they're referencing, but people who have taken sleeping pills aren't awake, but they aren't actually sleeping either. They're sedated. Kind of like being anesthetized. You don't wake up after being anesthetized feeling well rested. Ambien may weaken the brain cell connections associated with learning. It may be causing memory damage over time. That is crazy. I mean, pair that with the worse sleep, which is also going to affect your memory over time. It's not good. Oh, this is a good one. Melatonin supplements will help you sleep better. I've heard this. I've got friends who take melatonin supplements to try and sleep better, instead of just doing the boring advice stuff that's tried and tested through science. Apparently, the research on melatonin supplements doesn't actually show that it helps people fall asleep. Some research has shown that people fall asleep a few minutes faster on supplemental melatonin, but the biggest improvement is probably a placebo, according to Walker. Interesting. I'm seeing a business opportunity right here. It makes sense, because if you believe it, you're like, oh, I'm feeling a bit sleepy, and then you'll lean into the sleepiness. Wow. I mean, I don't live in the US, so this doesn't apply to me, but supplements in the US are largely unregulated. Studies have shown that the amount of melatonin in supplements could be none at all, or could be almost 5 times what's on the label. Wow. In recent years, poison centers have received 5 times the number of calls about melatonin overdose as they did 20 years ago, because it's one of the most popular sleep aids these days. A study showed that 58% of respondents had used melatonin to try and get to sleep. Wow. I feel like that was just a big rant. I didn't really learn anything new. It was all just stuff I know already, but people just talk some absolute bollocks. There's decades and decades and decades of research on sleep. It's probably one of the most researched human behaviors ever. I'm not trying to change how you live your life. I'm just so frustrated. I'm sorry for ranting. I hope this video was interesting and now you've learnt some stuff that isn't true. So if someone's talking about sleep, you can be like, hey, that's bull. Ooh, I read a book once and it told me that. Shut up. It might have cherry-picked ideas. Look at the wider space. Use some common sense. I'm sorry, I just feel very strongly about sleep. I'm a sleepy Joe. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope this was useful or interesting in any way or entertaining. I don't know. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day and sweet dreams.